What if I told you you could sign your kid up for a martial art that will teach them the aspect of discipline as far as sports are concerned? They'll be able to compete and they'll be able to defend themselves, amongst other things. What if I told you that? Would you do it? I don't know about you, but me, I want my daughter to be able to defend herself. Excuse me, I have 2 daughters now. I want my daughters to be able to defend themselves. I want them to be able to have confidence. I want them to be able to speak up. If you want your kid to do all those things, boy or girl, you need to put them in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So in this video, I'm gonna give you 5 reasons why you need to get your kid in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for about 13 years. This is probably the most consistent that I have been in about 5 years, 4 years. So I have a little experience as to what Jiu-Jitsu can do, not only for adults, but for kids. One important factor that I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu helps with kids is it creates that impulse control when they're out and about, out at school, out at the playground. Because if you're at a sport jiu-jitsu academy, they're going to treat it like practice. They're going to treat it like sports. And impulse control can also mean that they won't haul off and put hands on another child. Because now that they're learning how to defend themselves, they're going to be more cognizant of putting hands on any other kids, because that is a big no-no. If you have a good instructor, a good coach that actually cares about the child, they're going to have consequences for acting up in school, talking back to their parents, and things of that nature. So that impulse control is a big, big, big factor as to why I put my kid in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and why you should too. The second reason why I think you should put your kid in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is confidence, especially for girl dads, boy dads too. You want your kid to have confidence, but how do you exude that confidence? We can tell our kids they're beautiful, they're handsome, they're smart, but we're just mommy and daddy. So we say that all the time. So they eventually become numb to it. They have to learn that they have confidence because they can protect themselves. They know in any situation, regardless if another child is being a bully, regardless if another child is calling them names, a child in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is going to know that those words don't mean anything because that child can hurt the bully of the other child. The child that's in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is going to be more likely to have the confidence to just walk away and not cause confrontation and not cause conflict, because that child knows, Billy, I can hurt you. So whatever you say doesn't bother me. I'm going to just walk away. And you always want your kid to walk away, but you also want your kid to be able to defend themselves. I think all kids and children should have that confidence. So when they when they become an adult, they're able to exude that confidence and be comfortable in any situation. They're able to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Oh man, I gotta get you a water for this one. Raising my first daughter, we had no idea the ramifications of the iPad. Because let me tell you what, that tablet and iPad definitely plays a role in focus. And this is my next reason as to why you need to put your kid in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is focus. If your kid was on an iPad or grew up on an iPad, it's safe to assume that they have a hard time focusing. When your kid is in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they have to focus on their body. They have to focus on learning the technique. There are so many focus points that they have to do in class to be successful at Jiu-Jitsu. If you don't put your child in Jiu-Jitsu, you have to find another way that they can learn how to focus. Put your child in Jiu-Jitsu. They have no choice but to learn how to focus on the technique, focus on the instructions, focus on what your coach is telling you or your professor is telling you as you're rolling. All these things are what kids learn in the process of learning how to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Next reason why your child should be in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is exercise. It is hard cardiovascularly rolling around, grown man or woman. It's only going to be harder for a child who isn't fully developed to be rolling around with another kid. Not to mention you have competitions and you have practice. The kids have to train and be disciplined to run, to do these push-ups, to do all these things. I will admit, I'm kind of biased opposed to other martial arts. If a parent asks me what martial art their child should get into, I'm 100% going to say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or I'm going to say wrestling. Taekwondo, karate, Wing Chun, A lot of other martial arts are practical and they do work. But in my opinion, they only work if you train in a certain manner. For example, I took Taekwondo as a child. Now, as I got older and had to simulate a fight, let's say MMA training, I don't have much hands or striking yet, but I do know how to kick somebody because of the competition. So my stance when I'm striking is a little more TKD style, which I think is because of the competitions that my father, or I don't even remember how many competitions that my father put me in. My brother is a black belt in Taekwondo. So, and he definitely still has all those reflexes. So depending upon how you use these other arts, they can be very successful. But again, if you put your child in an art such as karate or taekwondo and aren't exposing them to those difficult situations, for example, a competition, or putting those arts into practical use. So if you're going to put your child in a martial art other than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'm biased. Put your child in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling at all times, hard stop. But if you're going to put your child in a martial art, make sure that martial art is used practically and it can be used in the real world. If they don't practice real world situations, for example, sparring or anything like that, do not put your child in that specific martial art. If your child is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, put down in the comments and let me know how it's going, how your child is faring, how long they've been in it. What belt are they? I'll be interested to know their journey. My name's Patrick. This is 40 and Flowing. I hope this helps all you parents out there. I'm just a dad trying to make it on this journey with my daughter. Again, this is 40 and Flowing. Make sure you like and subscribe. See you next time.